am I hearing you right that you want to start a YouTube channel? Great. Oh, you're over the age of 40? Perfect, you're in the right place. Wait, oh, you said you've watched 1,000 videos and you're really not sure what to do? We can fix that. I really think that by the end of this video and the fact that we hit the basics that you have to do without all the extra stuff, I think you're going to think it's not that complicated after all. Well, at least I hope so. Hey, I'm Diane. I am in my mid-50s, and I've started this channel to help my fellow folks who are over the age of 40 to have more influence and to be able to earn extra money, primarily by sharing what they already know. And frankly, a YouTube channel is one of the best ways to do that. So where do we start on this quest to give you everything you need to be able to start your YouTube channel? Maybe the best place to start is to give a brief explanation of how the YouTube algorithm works. And the algorithm is YouTube's brain that makes the decisions about what videos it puts in front of people for them to say, okay, I'll watch this. It's probably good to get this nailed down from the beginning so that you don't enter into fits of rage and throw things in the air and say, the algorithm hates me, because it doesn't have any emotions. It's a machine. YouTube will start by showing your video to a small group of people, and they'll assess what their behavior is while they're watching it. Primarily, how long they watch it, which is really one of the most important things. Whether they like it, whether they comment on it and share it. And then they take those early behaviors and then they kind of figure out who else they're going to show it to down the road. So if you've noticed as you've watched videos that sometimes it takes a few days or sometimes even a few weeks before a video starts to kind of accumulate views, it's because YouTube is still kind of figuring out who the audience is to put it in front of. It's not like they're going to keep it away forever. And these days, especially small creators are getting pushed out by YouTube far more than ever before. But it still takes the time because they want to put it in front of someone who it makes sense that they'd be likely to click on it based on what their past behavior has been. So especially for really small channels, that means it can take a fair amount of time for things to start to build because YouTube gets to know you, and then it also gets to know this seems like a likely audience. So patience comes into play. But what do you do while you're waiting? Well, I think it's best to kind of focus on the things that we can control. So you don't just post one video and let it sit there forever and think that, oh, someday YouTube will actually push it out. They want to see that you're consistently posting. They want to see that you're investing your time and energies into this channel. So if they start kind of pushing it out to other people, that you're going to keep creating like-minded things that people would still want to watch too. YouTube at its core wants to make money from what we're posting. And then eventually, if you become monetized with it, then you'll get a share of those profits too. And they make money by getting people to actually watch and enjoy and interact with videos. That's their whole goal. And I think as much as we line up with what we create with that, the better off we are. So if you watched other videos on this topic, you've probably seen that there's a long list of things that, you have to get this right and all these things. And, once you do all that, then you set up the perfect formula. And then sometimes you still don't get anywhere. We're going to go outside of that and maybe go to some of the larger reasons why I see that people fail when they start YouTube. And I think if we identify two of them, it can help you to veer away from them and keep on that path to success. Now, obviously for the purists, that might sound a little bit offensive, but here we are. So what do we do while we wait? Well, that's when we take the time to keep recording more videos and assessing and figuring out I could do that a little bit better, and then recording another one and improving and keeping that process going, creating more content, becoming more comfortable in front of the camera as you're going, and learning some of the basics of what it takes to help a YouTube video succeed in larger fronts too. But improving with each post is what we concentrate on while we wait. I think if we have a determination to improve, yet remain patient in those early days, we're ahead of the vast amount of people that are on YouTube. Don't fall into that, the algorithm hates me trap, and just give up because you don't see any consequences or you don't see any growth from it. It takes time, and it does take some improvement. So have patience and don't give up too early. All right, friend, we're getting the tough love out of the way in the beginning here. But you wanted the truth when you clicked on this video, so I'm going to give it to you. Here's the first reason that I think that people might be prone to not do so well on YouTube. Your viewers and the algorithm don't really know what to expect from you. You can't really be all over the place. I think it's important to establish an identity for ourselves when we start a channel. Like in my case, I have really set the course for myself that I am speaking to an over age 40 audience generally, And I'm encouraging ways to earn more money and to have more influence by sharing what we already know. And for a lot of my channel, and where I've seen a lot of my growth has come, is talking about how to do that with a YouTube channel. Now, truly, I haven't been posting in this vein on this channel for all that long. So I'm sticking with this lane for the foreseeable future. If I were to all of a sudden start to talk about crafting, which, trust me, you would not want me to do, or veer into all of a sudden making videos about my political views, which honestly, sometimes it is hard for me to keep my mouth shut about them, both my audience and the YouTube algorithm would probably ditch me pretty soon. They followed me for a reason. YouTube is promoting my videos to a specific audience for a reason, and if I start going crazy and leaving that behind, I'm losing all my momentum, and I think that would really kind of tank things. Now, here is an important caveat with though. If you're just starting out, you have some time and room to experiment. You have the room to try some different things, some different ideas, see what comes the most naturally to you. And that's only going to appear in many cases the more you record and the more you post videos. But now that I've been posting and am a bit more established, I think I've got sort of a brand, if you will, that my viewers turn in because they've learned that I have perhaps a certain type of expertise that lines up with what they're looking to learn more for. So I think the more I work to establish that in these early days, the better off I'll be in the long run for that. And YouTube seems to be, at least to some degree, finding me these people that are over 40 that are looking to have that type of impact and earn that kind of money, and they're to some degree putting my videos on the homepage of these people so that they have the option to click and to get to know me and my channel and hopefully follow along. So I say that to encourage you to think in that same line too, of what is the identity that you want people to know you for on YouTube, and that helps you to get established more in your mind as to what you want to create and helps you to understand what your audience might be. Speaking of subscribers, my analytics tell me that 65% of the people who watch my videos have not actually subscribed to my channel. If you're in that 65%, could I ask you a big favor? Would you mind hitting subscribe? It doesn't cost you a thing and it's a big help. I really appreciate it. Okay, here's my number 2 reason for why I think people might be prone to fail on YouTube. They give up too early. Oof, that's rough to say, but I think it's important to put out there. More than any other social media platform where you might see numbers kind of skyrocket overnight, YouTube really isn't like that. YouTube is all about the slow growth game. Now, I know maybe I've had a little bit of a faster opportunity to grow than most, and I'm really grateful for that, but I know I'm not the norm. Generally, YouTube is a slow grow and a slow go, and you have time to grow and improve and assess and make your videos better as you go, but it might be months and months before you really see anything that's like a significant growth with it. The patient people who are the ones who keep showing up and keep improving and keep posting and aren't daunted by the days that are passing with the slower numbers than they want to see are the ones that I think can eventually really take off. I really just don't want to see you give up too early and miss out what you might be able to get in the longer game. When starting out on YouTube, I think there's a lot of people who obsess over what's my niche going to be straight out of the gate, and they feel like they have to know exactly what they're going to talk about for the next 100 videos, and that's just not possible. Plus, it cuts them off from starting because they feel like they have too much to figure out. Here's how I suggest you start with that all-important "what do I talk about" question. Make a list of maybe 10 or 12 topics that you think that you can speak pretty easily about without a lot of research. And I'm not saying 10 or 12 widely varying topics. Maybe pick a general subject area and 10 or 12 topics within that. And ask your family and friends, what do you think that I could talk about that people would find me believable and credible in? What do you think would be some things that I could talk about that might be pretty natural for me? And then I kind of put those lists together and find some commonalities. Then choose a couple of them and start actually making the videos on them. Now, when you post them, again in the early days, don't expect big skyrocketing numbers out of the gate. You might see some trickle in and you can see that, okay, that got a little traction. But I wouldn't base all your decisions on that because you're not going to get a whole lot of views right for those first ones, which actually is a good thing. So you can more sense what you feel natural in talking about, what seems like it comes, that it's an easy flow for you and it's not like this awful complicated thing that you have to figure out. Or when you watch the videos, you're going to think, okay, I think somebody might believe me when I'm talking about this. And that helps you to sort of design that initial route of where you want to go. Now, you can expand it as you go on in time, of course, But for those initial thoughts of what do I talk about, that might be the best way to start. So then part 2 of that question is moving from you and putting your focus solely on your audience. I think it's key that you have to think about what you have that could appeal to the specific audience you want to reach. So again, in my case, I'm looking at an audience that is over 40. Number 1, I am over 40, so it's easy for me to relate to them. And number 2, I understand that there's a whole lot of people in my category that have an awful lot of really valuable things to share that we've earned and learned by life experience, and that retirement is on the horizon for a lot of us. So we're kind of thinking of what we can do to build up that savings and maybe to earn some extra income with that too. So that helps me to focus on what is it that my audience could benefit from that I have that I can easily share. So then I'm melding them a little bit together, that what I naturally have to bring to the table from my experience and my knowledge, and I'm marrying that with what in my audience would they have questions about. What would I be able to share that would hit some pain points and help to solve some problems for them? So I'd encourage you to take that vantage point and think through who the audience is that could benefit from the types of things that you have to share. What do they have in common? What are their social demographics? It doesn't have to be age like I'm doing. It could be anything. What are the pain points that they have? What are the things that you share that you know that a lot of these people have questions about, and that you have some ability to answer some of those questions and to kind of push them along into the things that they want to grow in? That can really help you to flesh out what direction you want to take for your channel by thinking about what you have to offer and thinking about the group of people that could really benefit from what you're offering. I truly believe that the most important factor with your YouTube channel, if it's one that you're intending to want to grow and possibly even profit from it someday, is thinking primarily about your audience. They're the most important thing about your channel. So let's get a little bit more technical when it comes to answering the question of how you go about starting a channel. You actually need the equipment to be able to record your videos. Now don't get scared, I've got good news. It's probably simpler than you think. And the most important thing that you need is something that you probably already have. And that's just a smartphone with a decent camera. That can truly be an excellent camera for you to get started with. I'm recording now simply using my iPhone. Now, I do have an additional wireless microphone that I use because I think audio is one of the key things to actually help people have a positive experience watching your video. And the microphone on most smartphones just doesn't cut it. I do have links in the description of this video to the small amount of equipment that I use, including the microphone that I have. Now, I know I said that this would be the only video you needed to watch to start your channel, but if you do have some questions about equipment, I do have a video about my simple setup. Very simple, very few pieces of equipment, centering on my phone with even some more surprises of less complicated things than you might expect. If you take a few minutes to watch that and you have questions about what equipment you need, I think it could really help. All right, so let's tie a whole lot of this together and get to our big point here of how do we create our first video. Now, my recommendation for this overall is going to be don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. So the first thing is actually what you want to make this video about. We've talked about niche, we've talked about audience, so we're just going to drill down from there. And I'm sure you spent some time watching videos of people that would talk in the arena that you want to talk about, and take a look at what's actually doing well for them. Take a look about something that isn't maybe a real complicated one and get some ideas. Now, don't just copy, put your own spin on it, tell your own story, share your own vantage point, but use those starting points to actually get that first topic set. Maybe write 10 of those ideas down of here could be my first one, then pick the one that's just burning the most in you and do it. Don't toil, don't wait, don't feel like you have to get it perfect. Record that first one, get started, and get that first one out of the way. That's I think one of the best starting points right there. If you have that initial topic in mind, everybody has a different process of how they actually want to put together the information and then actually talk about it. Sometimes I just make a little general list of bullet points that sort of outline what I want to cover and hang it in front of me underneath my iPhone and take a look at it sometimes, but talk from that. Then there are definitely more complicated topics, which I almost write out an entire script. And that helps me to make sure I'm talking about everything that I want to talk about, but maybe not blabber on unnecessarily about some things too, which I think we can all do. So you have that topic, you have your general outline, then there's just really one thing left to do. Just start recording. You don't need a perfect background. You don't need perfect lighting. just make sure that both are okay and they're not like totally washed out or you have some really weird things happening behind you. If you do it and you record it and you totally hate it, then try it again. It might go better that second time. Don't give yourself the out to keep thinking, I have to get this exactly right before I start, because then you'll never start. So you look at your video and it's like, oh, I don't like that part. Can I take that out? Okay. Then we talk about a little simple editing. But again, don't think that editing is this horrible, big, complicated thing that makes everything impossible for you to do. It can really actually be pretty simple. I just use the CapCut app on my phone, and it's pretty simple process overall. If you need some starting help on that, I do have a video that talks about my simple editing techniques that are basic and kind of gets done what you need to get done when you're starting out, and it could be a good starting point for you. So you've got that video, you've taken it from your phone, I take it and upload it through the YouTube Studio app on my phone, and then I moved my computer to do anything else from it. But if you save it to your camera roll and you can upload it directly to YouTube, mark it as unlisted so the world doesn't see it until you're ready for it to go. But that's the easiest way to get it from your phone to being on your YouTube channel. So at that point, you need two very important things to actually get it posted and out for the world to be able to consume. And that's a title and a thumbnail. So your title has two really important things to accomplish. It needs to grab someone's attention long enough for them to stop and even give it any consideration as they're scrolling through. And then it needs to move them to the point of, I might give this a look. And then they click. Plus, your title is important simply for YouTube to get that first thought of what your video is about as it sends it into that algorithm process. I say spend some time looking at some titles of the people who are making videos maybe in a similar genre as yours, or that are speaking to an audience that is similar to the one that you want to reach. You might see some patterns or some formulas that sort of seem like they're guiding what those people's titles are, and I would definitely encourage you to put yours in that same line of thought. You don't want to get overly cutesy or creative with a title because they've got jobs to do. Then you move to your video thumbnail. And no, I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about the image that's posted with your video, so that when somebody is scrolling through, they see your title to know what's about, then they see the thumbnail that sort of augments that and gives a little more context to it. That thumbnail needs to partner with your title to earn that click. Now, I'm going to do a video in the future that focuses really on what to do with a thumbnail, but in the meantime, I will definitely say that less is more. A simple thumbnail, I think, accomplishes a lot more than something that's got a whole lot of stuff in it. So I'd say keep the clip art out. Keep the 10 or 12 words in there. I'd say 3 or 4 words at most. Use it to build a little curiosity as to what the video is about, but don't go overboard or else people won't pay any attention to it. So honestly, that's a short list of things that you need to think through and do to get your first video posted and get your channel started. Sure, there are other details, and we'll talk about them in due time, but those are the bottom line basics. And I hope in going through that short list, you might be thinking now, okay, that's maybe not as complicated as I thought. And I hope this generates some thoughts in you as to what you can do to put your voice and your experience out in the world. Because I think there's people in the world that are likely only going to be able to learn from someone who is like them, and that could be you. Don't make it more complicated in your mind than it needs to be. I really think if you've gotten this far, you can do this. So stop putting it off and get that first one recorded and posted. I'd love if you'd leave a comment and tell me what it's about and where you are in your process, and I can do a little cheering you on. And then if you want to learn more, I have an entire playlist put together about how to grow a YouTube channel, especially when you're over 40. I think it could help. But I really hope you get started, and I really hope this helped you.